Hello everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel. This is Estela with Leonesa Nica. This is part 2 for Australian Home Journal magazine pattern 8861, which is the yellow dress. I'm going to show you what I ended up, my finished work. I'm already wearing it with the help of my dummy or my twin, and this is what it looks like. Okay, this is what I came up with. I hope you guys like it. I am very much in love with it. However, before I jump into anything else, I have to say that I went ahead and I did all my alterations as I was working with this dress. It turned out to be a pretty beautiful dress. I really like it. I used bed sheets, guys. The only thing I bought at this point were these buttons. Okay, I got them at Hobby Lobby. Everything else I had. The one thing that I have to say is that this dress is supposed to be these seams in between that look like gathers or even pleats. There's no pleats on them. It's just that I cut my skirt panels like this, looking like this. And they should have been cut so in the fold it would be this. If you open this up, it gave me this one panel, which is really large from the hip area, which I should have done a lot less. So I went ahead and basically this is the one. I have 3 patterns that I made for that, for the, that I came up with. This is the largest one. Then I went ahead and I did the second one, my second attempt, and this would be the 3rd attempt. So the dress that I'm wearing, with the skirt that comes with this dress, is the pattern on the second attempt. And that's why the skirt looks like this. Let me see if I can move the camera a little bit further. I'm actually gonna post pictures on the my YouTube channel, as well as the other vintage groups. I mean the YouTube group, sorry. channels. This will be the final pattern that I'm gonna use for the panels, or basically the panel for the skirt. For this I have to cut 18. For this skirt that I'm wearing, since I used the second one, I used 12 panels. And if I would have used this one, then I would have used 8 panels. But these were my pieces that I came up with from those pictures that are on the pattern. Or I do not own the magazine. I'm also gonna show you the tissue paper I used for this dress. Guys, I don't like wearing much makeup right now because my face is still breaking out a lot. So, but for this dress, I had to do what I had to do. And then I'm wearing my little pearls. Okay, so it looks like it's bright enough outside. I don't think I need much light, but let me see if I turn it off. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, so again, this is what I'm working on. This magazine is the Australian Home Journal magazine. This one is edition from January 1st, 1957, and I used pattern 8861. Basically, I didn't use any patterns, as I said on the first video. So if you haven't seen the first video, go back and watch it, which would be part 1 to this second part. When I talked about the tissue paper, This is the tissue paper that I use. This is the same paper you can use from, you know, for gift wrapping or to use in the bags to stuff your gift that for someone. So if you have these, use them. They're very good. This I use to transfer this pattern because I kind of like sort of draped or taped on my dummy, and that's what I use. See, if you can see, I needed something that would be see-through. So this, I mean, if you see it from, I can see it from here on the video, so you guys can see that it does transfer really well. And then after I was done with this, I went ahead and used heavier paper. This is construction paper, and I went ahead and I transfer to this. Okay, and then the same thing, I did the same thing with this part. This is the part that goes here, which would be this right here, the center part. I hope you guys like the final result. This would be the back of my dress. The back of the bodice. There is a very small dart. I am planning on making that dart a little wider because the dress does fit me a little looser. And I could have gone and changed that, but honestly guys, I'm gonna be wearing this dress for whenever I need to go out to run errands, or if I need to meet someone. I do have a couple groups that I will be meeting with, which would be mine for the sewing group. Don't know exactly when that's gonna come back, but I'm working on it. And I love to smock, so I do heirloom sewing, and it's a lot of hand stitching. So I'm planning on meeting with that group sometime before the end of the summer or after summer, or maybe after summer, because I'm in Arizona, so the heat here is not as good. Although I have to say, all our houses here are under air conditioning, at least most of them. I have to say like 95% or 98% of the house of everyone's houses here have central air conditioning. Okay, so I was thinking about making a video. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do on my next video. I would like to show you how I came up with the pattern, but it's so lengthy. I don't know that you guys might want me to do that. If that's something you guys would like me to do, then let me know. Leave it under the comments below. So when I finished, as I was working on this, I realized that this part, which is the cup, this part, was a little too wide, sticking out to the side seam, and it wasn't matching this part of the pattern. So I had to make an extra pleat into that pattern. This pattern, or the instructions for this pattern, I do not own the pattern. Again, I actually use pictures that are printed with the instructions, and I went ahead and I drew mine. I didn't print any, and I did all my instructions on them. This pattern is so easy to do. I'm so impressed. I've always been so intimidated with doing vintage wear with the new patterns that we can find today, the reproduction patterns that you can find today at the stores, you know, from McCall's, Simplicity, Butterick, and Vogue. And so far I've tried, I believe I've tried 2 patterns from Retro, and I own a lot. I have to say, I do own a lot. But I'm talking about the ones that have been made for today, for today's sewer. I have to say, if you're watching this, the instructions that are on those patterns, sincerely, it has nothing to do with what I went through with this pattern. The instructions for this pattern made it so easy. Anyone can do this pattern. I mean, I think anyone can do this. I'm not gonna make that assumption that everyone can. I think that everyone should be able to, you know, hit the mark with this dress. I'm telling you, I'm so in love with this dress. I like how it fits me. Um, Guys, I inserted the zipper. I didn't need to do anything else because I didn't really fitted the dress too tight on me, at least not for the mock-up. I was just having fun as I was going with it. This right here, the um the sleeve band that's on here does not go on there. It's supposed to be tucked in like this. It's supposed to be like this. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be. But I like the fact that because I added a different color to my dress, I just felt like I had to have that extra feature. The other thing I needed to say is, I was supposed to add shoulder pads to my pattern. I didn't. I liked the way it fits me. I didn't want to add more bulk. But these is what I was supposed to use. Instead I used it for something else. But I'm gonna leave them. I'm gonna use them with another dress. Just cover them with different fabric. But for now, I am happy how this feels. I just took off the belt. This is the belt I made with it. I did not buy a kit, guys. I went ahead and used woven, like the hard, heavy woven interfacing that you can find out there, that it's used a lot for corset making, which I'll show you guys what I mean. Sorry, guys. Here I am. Okay, so before I sit down, I'm gonna show you, and I continue with the belt situation. This is what the dress really looks like, okay? So it's a little, I have a lot of movement on it. This is where my zipper went, right there. I did not need, and then you can see the back, you can see in the back it's a little bigger. So I can probably pull about 3 inches altogether from the dress in the back. But I am happy like this. I don't like wearing stuff too tight. I am planning to make this part a little longer on my next dress, so that I can make it a little fitted. But this style, just like this, I love how it feels. I added pockets to it, which is not part of the dress, but I added pockets right here, so you really can't see where those go unless, see? Can you see? You would have never thought I had pockets there, which I love, that I can wear my pockets. Okay, so coming back to the belt, this has been my first attempt to making a belt for a dress. And the buckle is a metal buckle that I had bought at the store, and what I did with it is I actually used fusible interfacing and put it on a piece of fabric, covered it. So my fabric, it was probably about 3/4 of an inch wider away from the edges of the buckle. I also used glue, fabric tack to glue everything on it, and I also used cold or liquid silicone for crafting, and that's how this turned out. It's not perfect, I have to say, but it's good enough for, you know, making this dress. And then I use eyelets for the buckle. I have 3 of them. They're 1 inch apart from each other. The first one is at 37 inches, 38 and 39 inches. I thought my waist was 39 inches. I did the 38 inches and it's perfect. It's like really good. But I just don't like I said, sitting down or anything. I like to have movement. So I left it at 39 inches on, which is the middle eyelet. The length of my veil itself, it's about 45 inches, if not 46 inches. I think it was 45 inches. 36. Yeah, it's 44 inches long. So I'm happy with this. How did I do this? I actually went on YouTube, looked at the people that would cover their buckle belt kit, which I suggest if you don't know how to do that, then go ahead and look at, there's a bunch of videos. I'm not gonna go into that. I didn't went and buy anything. I had this fabric and it's really thick. It's not fusible. This is used a lot for belts and, you know, and making, crafting and sewing and corset making. So because you can actually, this one rip, okay, can you hear that? And it's very strong. Okay, and I believe this is probably the same type of interfacing that it's used to make these belt buckle kit. I buy them by the yard. If you live in Arizona, I get it at SAS. So, you know, I think I paid about $2 or $3 for the yard. So I believe I bought 1.5 yards the last time I bought it. I always like to have things like this laying around in my stash. And then this right here is the fusible cheapy stuff that we use for the collars and stuff like that. See, it's like paper, but it fuses into the fabric. So I use both of them. I use the light one to fuse, to interface the fabric, and then I use the hard one as my belt. Basically that's all I can say about that. I did stitch it how I used the stitching method, so you can see the stitches on the edges. This is how I ended up folding, and this would be my back and this would be my front. You can barely see those stitches, but they're right here. And I believe that's like 1/8 of an inch. It's at the very edge just to hold everything. I pressed a lot to make this belt, so be very patient when you're doing this. And these were my best friends when it came to pressing and keeping the folds and, you know, in line. What else did I use? That's all I used. So okay, so I'm done with the buckle. I already told you I inserted a zipper, which is right here. Okay, I have to say I used, it says to do it on the left, but I couldn't reach, and I'm better off just doing this on my right. So I used it on the right side. Again, I bought the buttons at Hobby Lobby. This part right here, The facing was also interface, which is part of the instructions on the dress, the making of the dress on the magazine. So that's what I did. I had cut it's 16 panels for the dress. I had cut my 16 panels with the cream color that I showed you earlier. I was planning on adding that to the skirt, but when I came to finish putting together the 6 front pieces and the 6 back pieces, then I realized that it was just way too wide. So I still went ahead and altered those panels by 1 1/4 of an inch on each panel. I divided that by 2 because now at that point, because my panels were already sewn together, the front and the front part and the back part, I went ahead and I divided that by 2. So because now I have 2 panels sewn together, so I had to make that correction in that way. And then I went in, I sewed on, removed the older stitches, press again, and once I was done with that, I went ahead and attached my pockets. When I was done with my pockets, and then I went ahead and I stitched both front and back together, and I left 6 to 7 inches open on my right side where my zipper was going to be inserted. When I say I left that open on sewn. So from that point on, I stitched it all the way down. My hem is hand stitched. I hand stitched it, and that was 2 inches from the hem. So the length of the skirt as it is, I love it. I love that it's not too short and it's not too long. I am not a tall person, so I don't want this dress to be too long either. I think it's at the perfect length. Let me show you that so you guys can see it. So it's right there. And then let me move my girl, and it's really, really wide, but I love it. It has a nice drape. I forgot about this part, and I just realized I left it on the floor and ripped it, but I don't need it. But I just wanted to show you guys that this would have been that part in the center of my bodice, which is this right here. And I don't need it no more because I transferred everything to the actual to the other paper, the heavier paper. Like I said, it's construction paper. It's used. You'll find it where the painting part would be. Whoops. You'll find that the part where the aisle where they have all the paint. Okay, so what else to say about this? Not much to say anymore that I haven't said before. The panels were, when I made this panel, these were made with 3.5 inches wide at the top of the waist, and I believe 10.5 inches at the bottom. Okay, actually no, 9.5 inches at the bottom of the skirt. I didn't change any of that other than the top part. On this one, like I said, I had to make it smaller because at the waist only. I didn't do anything on the rest of it. I don't think I needed to do that. What did I do with the pattern? Oh, here we go. So on the pattern though, on the instructions on the magazine picture, this is what threw me off. Okay, I'm gonna explain something to you. The picture looks pretty much like this, okay? And it has all these lines, continuous lines, marked lines. Those lines are for you to fold it in half and cut your skirt on the fold. I mean, cut the panels on the fold. But before I go into that, look at the shape of that, okay? The shape of that is for someone that doesn't have a butt nor belly, or that it has a butt but doesn't have a belly at all, like no belly whatsoever. So because I have a belly, I have hips and a butt, I wanted to make sure that this skirt was not going to be tight around there. I wanted it to flow the way it, see this, how it looks? I like that. The one thing I don't like about it is this right here, these gathers that happen. But because it's cut in a circular way, then I'm okay with it. If there were more gathers, there's no way I would make this skirt. And I know that a lot of these dresses will have gathers, and I'm not sure that I want to do gathers on my skirt again because I have a belly. I'm doing me, guys, okay? So if you're happy with doing gathers on your dresses, then, you know, don't mind me. Whatever makes you happy. However, this dress does not have gathers. It has just those seams, and it should be like on a, it should be on a circular cut. So that's why it does that. But not entirely. What I wanted to say is when I made mine, I had to add, see, it doesn't have the same shape on this pattern. You see it? It should have been more like a C cut coming from here and then going in. I can't do that. I have more room in my body than the pattern was asking. So I chose not to do that. However, when I do my other 16 panels, I will do them the way I have them, which is this one. See the difference? This is what I was supposed to do. What threw me off, really, what I wanted to say is what threw me off with the pattern, the picture, is that you can cut your panels this way, or you can cut each one individually on the fold, okay? Now, this would be my hemline, and then 4 inches below is my high hip, and then this would be my regular hip right here, which is 7 inches from my hip going down. I don't know for you guys how that would work. It's pretty much about the same, but it depends as well on your body structure and how tall you are as well, and how much belly or no belly, how much butt or no butt, how much hip or no hip. So basically it's different for everybody. But these dresses, you need to understand that where most of these girls back then at my age would have been a lot thinner. Even if they had hip and belly and all of that, they would probably be a lot thinner. They'd probably be, I think the biggest would have been a size 12. I'm still in a size 14, I think. I'm not sure. I haven't bought clothes for a while, so, but I do own a lot of store-bought clothes. My target now is to get into this vintage wear and reproduction of the vintage wear, which that's what I'm planning on doing for my wardrobe from now on. This dress, I'm really happy with it. I'm very impressed. I had never ever done a vintage reproduction freehand pattern with minimal instructions. You don't need that many instructions to hit the mark with a lot of these dresses. I think where you have to be more creative and more maybe knowledgeable is when you have those crazy designs, you know, more intricate, more folds, more draping. I think that for that, you probably have to have a little more knowledge. But if you pick up a dress, oh, I have to say I had a book that I used. Well, I don't know where it is, but I'll show you guys next time. But with this, if you understand sewing with patterns from the store, then this will be an easy breezy because there's really not much. If you also have your own mannequin or your own dummy or your whatever you want to call it, I call her my twin. I said on the previous video that I had to stuff it in more and shape it more to my body, at least closer to my body. I'm supposed to be minimizing her body, but because when I'm on my days, my monthly days, and you all know what I mean, I gain weight and it's water weight. So I tend to increase inches in my body. So right now I just passed like a couple days, so it's minimizing again. So I'm at this, that's where I'm at right now, and so I'm happy with how I feel with this dress, honestly. I know there are some things that I need to work on, like how these bands stand a little. I wanted them to be a little lower. But then again, I'm still happy with how it looks. I'm happy with movement. I'm happy with using the sheets. I think the sheets said that they're 100% cotton, or Egyptian cotton or something like that. But they're very fresh and cool. I love that I added the pockets on this dress. I love the length. But most of all, I love that I'm happy with it. I love that it was so easy to get it finished and done. I worked on this dress the entire week, and let me tell you that I didn't really focus a lot into the making of the dress. I focused a lot more into the pattern drafting of this dress. But when I sat to work on it, I just sat maybe for an hour or two just to play with it. I think it was just 1 hour, and so I completed the dress in 3 days. Yes, yesterday was already done. I just needed to, well, almost done. I let it sit on the dummy for 24 hours before I did the hem, which is what it's asking you to do because of the weight. You know, it's more circular cut. So it's gonna ask you to leave the dress laying without doing anything to it so that all the threads can actually relax enough, and then when that 24 hours pass, then you can go ahead and do your hem. And that's really what I did. I did not serge or overcasted the edge of the hem because I did a double fold hem. I double folded my hem, and that's why I decided not to do anything else to the edge of that. So my next dress will be the original dress. So hopefully I'll be giving you guys a video on that, and of course I will be this time I'll be filming the cutting of it with the patterns already made and altered from this mock-up. And I will try to do film every single step. Unfortunately, life happens sometimes, so I cannot bind to that 100%, but I do promise to show you guys the cutting and the put together in pieces. Not all of it, but at least the most important parts. And when I get stuck on the sewing, you guys will also see that. I do not edit my videos. I leave them as it is, so if I get stuck, you guys can see what to do if you do get stuck, what I do with unstucking. I will not be using a domestic sewing machine. The sewing machine I use is a Juki industrial sewing machine. It's a DDL227, which is the oldest one of the oldest models out there, but she's a beast. Her name is Faith because she's never let me down. So guys, this concludes the end of my video. I'm very happy about it. If you want any more information, please go to the Facebook group. In the Facebook group, it's called the Vintage, not the Vintage, but Vintage Australian Vintage Australian Home Journal magazine, and go through the post if you would like to gain the pictures where the instructions and pictures of the pattern on the instructions for this dress is posted on, it is posted on that group. You can also get me at my group, which is So Classy and Creative. I should have written that down for you guys, but I'm gonna write it down right here while we are on this talking. Okay, so it's So Classy and Creative. I will leave the link down below, but just in case, I'm writing it down. You will get this. That's on my Facebook group. That's actually mine. I don't have a lot of posts, but whenever I'm doing something, I throw it in there. So even when I'm doing my videos, once I load them, it goes into that group, onto my group as well. My name is Estela with Leonesa Nika in this channel. Hope you guys like this video. There's really not much to talk about other than showing you what happened with this dress. Again, I'm really happy with it, and I will be making more. Hold on tight, give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you again. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.